Day journey of the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress 2026, a celebration of knowledge rooted in our heritage and dedicated to our future. I request all the dignitaries to kindly take their seats on the dais. Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala, Professor Sidhu P. Algo. Our Chief Guest, Professor Ashok S. Alu. Guest of Honor, Dr. K.B. Hebba, Director of ICAR, Central Plantation Crops Research Institute. Professor Rajendra Pilankata, General Secretary of 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress. Professor Joseph Koipalli Joseph, Dean Academic. Sri K. Muralidharan, former President of Swadeshi Science Movement, Kerala. And Professor S. M. Shivaprasad, Dean of IIT Dharwad. Professor G. M. Nair, President of Kerala Academy of Sciences. Professor N. H. Ayachut, Dean Academics of KLE Technological University. Let us begin this auspicious occasion by invoking the blessings of knowledge and wisdom. May the light of science guide us towards progress and harmony. We request everyone to rise for the university anthem.
Jana Mana Adhinayaka Jaya.
Thank you all. Let's start the valedictory session with a briefing on the Swadeshi Science Congress and the organizations that hold an invaluable role in shaping the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress. The 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress was held under the guiding theme of Transformative Science and Technology Education for Viksit Bharat from January 7th to 9th, 2026. This aimed to empower students for the sustainable development of the world and act as a catalyst for individual and societal change. Over the years, the Swadeshi Science Congress emerged as a national level platform for the presentation and discussion of scientific papers by research scholars and scientists. The Swadeshi Science Movement gave life to the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress, jointly organized with the Central University of Kerala, which was founded on the vision of a caring wisdom. To carry forward the spirit of this Congress, may I now invite Professor Joseph Koipalli Joseph, the Dean Academic, for the welcome address.
Thank you. Respected Vice Chancellor, all the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. For the last 3 days, from January 7th till 9th, we had been here. We have been here. We are still here now, participating in the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress, National Seminar on Transformative Science and Technology Education for Viksit Bharat. It has been a wonderful program organized in several venues parallelly, with some of the best minds in India coming together here, along with our small team of Central University of Kerala, organizing this, in my opinion, very brilliantly over the last 3 days. So first of all, congratulations to everyone who worked hard behind this. Now, in the Western tradition, we are caught up in three important words we have here. One is science, the other is Gyan, other is Vigyan. In the Western tradition, we say science. Science is to know things. But the words, Indian Sanskrit words, Gyan and Vigyan, Gyan is something higher. Vigyan is, we separate it with the V, Gyan. That is more understanding the reality in a more empirical manner. But the movement from Vigyan to Gyan is mediated in the Western world by another term called science, or Shiensia, or to know. This is important in our present-day generation when we are teaching the young children, or the Gen Z, as we say. Gen Z is often said to be a confused society, but it is not confusion. They are enriched by a modern Vigyan tool with them, that is artificial technology. Our challenge is to make sure that whatever Gyan that we have is now processed by or delivered to them or made accessible to them through this algorithm for them to know and to understand. That's a different challenge that we have. I hope the Swadeshi Science Congress helped us in doing that, or the direction. That's the reason why the seminar is organized in a university like this. I hope this will inspire many young minds and also redefine the approach of the elder generation in carrying it forward. Without taking much time, I'm going to my duty. First of all, I welcome the president of this function, our dear Vice Chancellor, Professor Sidhu P. Algur. Please give him a big clap. I was told by many people in the auditorium who participated in the function that they were surprised to see that the Vice Chancellor was present, the head of the institution was present in most of the functions, or all throughout the day. For the 3 days he was present. His meticulous attention to minute details that makes all the change. Even just before walking into the hall, he was giving instructions, okay, this is to be done like this and so on. Involvement with a positive mind, that defines our Vice Chancellor. So thank you, sir, for being here and organizing the function. Thank you very much. Next, I welcome Professor Ashok S. Algur, who is our chief guest and giving our valedictory address. He is the Vice Chancellor of Kodagu University. Sir, thank you for being here and accepting our invitation to be our chief guest. Next is our guest of honor from our neighborhood itself, but a great institution of more than 100 years, Professor Dr. K.B. Hebbar, the Director of ICAR, CPCRI, Kasaragod. Sir, welcome, sir. Hearty welcome. There are many important dignitaries sitting on the dais today who's blessed us with their gracious presence. As we welcome them, please go on, feel free to walk in and welcome with the flower. Professor Apparao is he has been here, he's not a new person, he's been in the university. He's a former Vice Chancellor of Hyderabad Central University. Sir, welcome for coming over and giving a talk also here. And Professor S.M. Shivaprasad, Professor and Dean of IIT Dharwad. Welcome, sir. And Professor G.M. Nair, President of the Kerala Science Academy of Sciences. But that is not enough. He is our own. He is the one who raised the Central University of Kerala, especially the Biosciences Department. So thank you, sir, for being here and helping us in that. And Professor N.H. Ayachit, Professor and Dean Academic, KLE Technology University. Sir, welcome. Hearty welcome, sir. And our own Registrar, Professor Dr. R. Jayaprakash is here. Registrar in charge of the Central University of Kerala. He was the controller of exam. He is a controller of examination, and he is doubling up in so many roles. And he is sitting down there. Thank you very much, sir, for being here. And Professor Swapna S. Nair, Technical Committee Chairperson, 32nd SSC. Welcome. And Dr. Jasmine M. Shah, who the young, vibrant Secretary of the 32nd SSC. She had sleepless nights. Thank you, Jasmine, for all your efforts. And now I also welcome Professor K. Muralidharan, the former President of SSM Kerala. He is here. Please welcome, sir. He was the former Director of the CPCRI. He is also a long-time friend of the university. I also welcome all the distinguished participants who have come over a long way from here, who have been here attending this function for the last 3 days. There are many names I would like to call, but because of the shortage of time, I am not going for that. With wholehearted welcome to the program, to all the dignitaries who have assembled here, all the deans, heads of departments, distinguished scholars, our participants, our young students, and the organizing team. All of you, wish you a very warm welcome. Just wait. The heart and soul of this function was my dear friend, Dr. Rajendra Pilankata. Please give him a big clap. He is one of the leading scientists that we have in this country, and he is also acting as the General Secretary of this program. Behind that, he is working also as our Dean of Students' Welfare and also as our Finance Officer in spite of his busy schedule. Thank you, Dr. Rajendra, for brilliantly organizing this function. So I invite each and every one of you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the warm and gracious welcome. We now turn to the important task of reflection. I warmly invite Professor Rajendra Pilankata, General Secretary of 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress and Dean of Students' Welfare at Central University of Kerala, to present the 3-day report, a summary of knowledge shared and the spirit experienced during the Congress.
Thank you. President of this concluding ceremony, that is valedictory function, Professor, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Sidhu P. Algu, and today's chief guest, Professor Ashok S. Sal, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kodagu University, and our guest of honor, Dr. K.B. Hebbar, Sir, CPCRI Kasaragod, and stalwarts who are sitting in the dais, our former Vice Chancellor of University of Hyderabad, Professor Apparao, Sir, and Professor S.M. Shivaprasad, Sir, Professor G.M. Nair, Sir, Professor Ayachit, Sir, Jayaprakash Ji, Registrar, Professor Sopna S. Nair, Dr. Jasmine M. Shah, and Muralidharan, Sir, and all the dignitaries of the dais, students, participants, a warm good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I am so happy to be here to give a brief report. I am not extending, it will be only 5 minutes brief presentation. I know how heavy it is. So I remember after I joined this university in 2011, probably in my memory, this is the first science congress happening in our university by including all the disciplines. The first one. That is, I think we have to give a big applause for our leadership by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, for actually materializing this event. And only one program, what I remember, same Swadeshi Science Movement, we in collaboration we have done in 2014, that is Swashraya Bharat, but it was more of a different nature. But this Congress, this Science Congress, in fact, we thought of in November 7th, that's Sir C.V. Raman's birthday commemoration, but we couldn't do it because of certain technical reason. That's why we have postponed this. So that's why in the background, the work is being done for the preparation for this, conference since the last couple of months actually. Every day we are working on that, and I don't want to tell individual names because short of time. So that is one thing, and I will directly go for the report. The day one of our conference, that is the inaugural function, was blessed by the presence of Honorable Kerala Governor, none other than Professor Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekarji, and who blessed the occasion with a very valuable insight. He told that even though he is not from science, he understood the audience and the theme in depth, and he told, that sentence I remember, just by wearing khadi dress or some cotton dress, we are not going to become Swadeshi. Swadeshi culture should come in our lifestyle and in our way of life, way of living. The Swadeshi tradition should come. That's what his message. That was we were all very happy to hear his words. And immediately it was proceeded further with the, three important talk. Two memorial talks, Sir C.V. Raman Memorial Lecture by NIST Director Dr. Anand Ramakrishnan Sir. It was so innovative, so mind-blowing, and novel technology, how for the society, how we can apply, how academic institutes should focus on the innovative technology. It was very good. Specifically, he was focusing on the food technology and the environment also. And then Dr. Mohan Kundumel sir actually has given a wonderful talk on the Healthy India for Viksit Bharat. And the theme of our entire seminar is, focal theme was actually Transformative Science and Technology Education for Viksit Bharat. So everything pointing towards or marching towards the Viksit Bharat, developed India by 2047. All talks, there was some element which can contribute to the building of the nation towards the Viksit Bharat. So Mohan Kundumel sir was focusing on Healthy India, and also another three important event which was happened is, as part of this 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress, we have honored three important luminaries, with the Swadeshi Shastra Puraskaram. Two Swadeshi Shastra Puraskaram was given. One is Dr. T.M. Balakrishnan sir received that. He is a is a director, Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services, and Professor Chandrabhas Narayana sir also received, former Director Rajiv Gandhi Center for Biotechnology. And also a lifetime contribution award was conferred to our very senior Professor V.P. Namburi sir. Actually, that was the first day, and also we had a technical session rolled out on the first day. Now let me tell about certain statistics of the entire program. the Science Congress witnessed strong, very strong multidisciplinary participation across physical science, engineering, earth science, health science, biological science, botany, agriculture, horticulture, forestry, and Indian knowledge system. To specify some of the discipline we don't even have in our campus, but still we have seen wonderful contribution and the discussions. So that is really invoking. Actually, excluding plenary and invited lectures, a total of 238 abstracts were received across all thematic sessions. These resulted in 170 oral presentations and 48 poster presentations, reflecting both academic rigor and thematic diversity of the event. Theme-wise participation demonstrated a balanced representation. Physical sciences and engineering accounted for 60 abstracts, with 38 oral and 9 poster presentations. Earth sciences received 29 abstracts, leading to 18 oral and 5 poster presentations. Health science featured 21 abstracts, all of which were oral presentations. Biological sciences saw strong engagement with 59 abstracts, resulting in 43 oral and 16 poster presentations. Botany, agriculture, horticulture, and forestry included 46 abstracts with 32 oral and 14 poster presentations. The Indian knowledge systems sessions complemented these themes by integrating traditional wisdom and modern scientific inquiry. And certain individual talk I enter means, a big report is there. And one of the important outcome of the conference, I would say that a very good abstract has been released as a compendium proceedings by a strong team of technical committee. Professor Swapna S. Nair chaired that, and it came out very well. And also we are planning to, that is a very good abstract, and then actually we are planning to publish that if possible, some extended abstract if we receive. We are planning to publish that. It should be on record. I mean, it's useful for the academicians, all participants also. We are planning for that after the conference. So that's what outcome. And some of the talk, our seminars graced by, I never saw in our campus such a kind of huge luminaries and stalwarts coming on same day in the campus and staying across the discipline. And I would say that some talk really took us to different level. Professor Deshmukh sir's talk, I mean, I could not attend individual sessions, I was running around. So Professor Deshmukh sir's talk, when I actually attended, I felt like all our ancient Indian, gems of Indian scientists. I mean, a complete gallery was there presented by sir. Probably it was we were actually individual name when we were listening, we were really thinking about our old textbook when we learnt during our classes and all. Sir, it was wonderful, sir. It was that. And the highlight of the another thing is extended scientific interaction, where students and teachers engaged in open dialogue with the distinguished scientists, including Professor Ashok Alur sir and also Professor Shiva Prasad sir. I remember the way Shiva Prasad sir was coining. I am thinking that let more marriage happen between electron and holes, and so more LED light will emit and campus will be, lightened in that. Same way, of course, the diverse also important, I think, solar cell you were explaining. So it was so nice, sir, amazing. And similarly, the program was concluded with a science-themed short film. One short film also is there. We couldn't actually do it, show it because of the shortage of time. And one second. Sessions under botany and agriculture, horticulture, and it was held in Saraswati Hall. It was always crowded because of the number of abstract and the kind of participation. And Professor G.M. Nair sir was delivered a plenary lecture on the research ecosystem in India, highlighting translation research, startup enablement. Actually, that talk actually really helped them to catch the possibility of startups and how young academicians I don't know where I am including, I may be mid-career. So it was really useful for, for us to get the more, understand the more avenues for developing, more startups and, for initiating more startups. So like that, so many things are there. And I think now, because of shortage of time, I am actually winding up here. So, of course, it was very much exciting event. And I think if I get more time, I will explain an hour. That much content is there. So I don't want to go for that. So it is a year between lunch and valedictory. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I would like to say one sentence is, this event could materialize because of the strong team in our campus, our faculty colleagues. Without telling any name, my big salute to all my colleagues, organizing committee members. Thank you all giving me this opportunity. Let us again meet again in another science congress together, the multidisciplinarity. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for the comprehensive 3-day report presentation. We are honored by the presence of our chief guest, Professor Ashok S. Alur, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kodag University. Now I welcome Professor Ashok S. Alur for the valedictory address and inspire us with words of wisdom.
President of today's valedictory function and Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala, a good friend, philosopher and a guide, Professor Sidhu P. Algur, galaxy of esteemed guests on the dais, distinguished scientists across the country, academicians, invited speakers, delegates of this wonderful program, and friends from print and electronic media, and my most beloved students, friends. It's both an honor and a privilege to stand before you this afternoon for the valedictory of 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress and a national conference on transformative science and technology education for Viksit, Bharat. For the last 3 days, this beautiful campus has transformed itself into a kumbh of ideas where ancient wisdom has met the cutting edge science, where the young minds have engaged critically with the national vision of self-reliant developed India by 2047. Friends, this valedictory is therefore not a mere formality. To me, it's a collective moment of introspection, consolidation, and a resolve. At the very outset, I would like to congratulate Professor Algur and his entire team at the Central University of Kerala for such a wonderful program. I also join you in expressing our deep appreciation to the Swadeshi Science Movement Kerala for organizing such a wonderful program. And we have students, researchers, and scientists across the country here. I would like to say one thing, Professor Algur himself is a magnet, and people cannot say no to him. That's the beauty that I have been seeing him. And many of us sitting on the dais, off the dais, are attracted by that magnet. So, Swadeshi Science Congress has now completed 32 years of remarkable editions, evolving from the regional science gathering to a premier national level scientific forum with a very clear philosophical anchor. And if you look at the present edition of Congress, this really continues this journey by reaffirming that technology and education, they must ultimately serve people, they must serve the communities, and at large, the goal of nation's self-reliance. This is one of the important aspects. And if you look at the focal theme that has been chosen for the conference, this is Transformative Education for Viksit Bharat. It's both timely and really visionary. As India moves purposefully towards the Viksit Bharat 2047, there's a growing recognition that the education must not simply expand quantitatively, because we have several institutions, universities, colleges coming up, but this should transform qualitatively at each and every step. However, if you look at the national education policy, which has tried to lay a holistic blueprint for such transformation, emphasizing more on multidisciplinary learning, flexibility, research integration, and many more things. But we have been discussing about the national education policy, and if you look at the policy text, the policy alone cannot change the reality. There is a need, or there is a requirement to have a very strong living ecosystem of institutions, ecosystem of great educators, ecosystem of interested students and the communities to interpret and implement all the vision that we have built in the NEP 2020, so that they are locally relevant, they are context sensitive in several ways. If you look at the reflections on the conference proceedings, I was very carefully listening to the report. I think during last 3 days, the 32nd Science Congress has hosted a rich array of activities, where I was listening to the number of abstracts that were submitted. There are wonderful technical sessions across 19 broad domains. There were invited memorial lectures, special addresses, student outreach programs, and one most important aspect that I really liked in this Congress is inviting students from secondary education, their teachers, because they are the future for this great nation. So if you look at the breadth and depth of the topics that they have chosen, and it ranged from physical science, chemistry, biological science, environmental science, agriculture, horticulture, health science, computer science, many other aspects. And it did not leave any sector untouched. And if you look at the great strength of this Congress, I have been seeing it from last 2 days. It has been commitment to involving students. Most of the sessions were managed and run by the students. That's a very unique thing that I have seen here. They are the young researchers, and a lot of people have presented through oral and poster presentations. They will be given some puraskars and awards for their best posters and other things. What I would like to say here is, if you look at the Swadeshi ethos, we talk about science, we talk about society, we talk about self-reliance. These are the three things that I am seeing as a part of this moment. The Swadeshi science movement basically articulates a very clear vision. It has a vision to adopt, utilize science in a very, as an instrument, for the material welfare, resisting from the exploitation of masses through science and technology. That's what we should look at it. And this is also very relevant in the particular era where powerful technologies like artificial intelligence, I was listening to several talks and discussions, interactions on AI. There is a fear, there is also an advantage. People think that they will lose all their jobs. They need not be worried about those things. But what I'm trying to say here is, we have seen several powerful tools like AI. We have seen tools like, genetic engineering, digital platforms, biotechnology, biofortification, all these things. They are there to empower our people. They are there to empower our teachers, our students, our communities. And I'm sure if they are used properly, they will never widen the inequalities, because that is how we need to govern them. We need to use them in our day-to-day life. If you look at the integration of Indian knowledge system, into the contemporary curricula, and one of the most important strands of discussion in this Congress has been the meaningful integration of IKS into contemporary education and research. And integrating IKS, it doesn't mean that uncritical glorification of the past. Basically it means carefully studying, carefully understanding the classical texts and also the practices and the community knowledge. There's a huge, rich community knowledge that is embedded. That needs to be done through rigorous methods. We need to validate useful insights from the IKS and also translate them into modern curricular modules so that our research projects and innovations, they become more and more knowledge-based and in the days to come. If I look at the Central University of Kerala and the Swadeshi Science Movement in Kerala, they have showcased a very different model of such an integration where we are trying to bring IKS with the latest scientific technologies. So basically, this is the traditional knowledge. They have brought in the Ayurveda, which they're trying to inspire the future research with the knowledge that is there. And they are also trying to look at ways and means to design our research programs in the days to come, whether it is, the basis that we draw from our Indian mathematics, Indian agriculture, Indian astronomy, or philosophical foundations of science. If you look at the transformative pedagogy and digital futures, this is one of the important aspect that we are talking about. Truly transformative science and technology education, it requires reimagining the pedagogy and not just the content. We have been discussing in the last 2 days about this. And especially for higher education, the mandate is equally demanding, and we have not been trying to cater to it completely. It requires a lot of serious thinking and action. The universities, they must move beyond lecture-centric teaching. They should create an ecosystem where students seamlessly engage in research, engage in innovation, they engage in field work, and they should carry back a mindset of entrepreneurship. We were interacting with students. We need to focus more on this. And if you look at youth, because this Congress has completely focused on the youth and the future generation, looking at the students and all. The youth, they are the shapers of the Viksit Bharat. So we have to focus on them. A recurring theme across all the sessions has been the central role of youth in realigning or realizing Viksit Bharat dream. Because if you look at the demographic profile of the country, we have a large share of young people. Till 2030, we have a great capacity to do this, and it is basically, we call that as a demographic dividend. But this will remain only a potential, unless education and skilling and scientific temper, they align and realign to convert that into a tangible progress. So this is what is very, very important. And we also discussed, I was seeing a lot of, I was reading, going through the abstract yesterday, the science, sustainability, and local development. They are the focus areas in almost all the papers that are presented. So this is another cross-cutting concern. The discussions have been, I'm sure the discussion have been there on sustainability, environmental factors, economic and social factors. The 31st Swadeshi Science Congress, which was held earlier in Cochin, if I'm right, this was focusing more on paths towards net zero emissions, underlying the urgency of climate responsive science in India's development strategy. But if you look at the present edition, this has extended this concern into the realm of education, asking how curricula and pedagogy can internalize the aspects of sustainability as a core value rather than just a potential topic. In practical terms, what I would like to say here is designing science projects, around local environmental challenges, whether it is water scarcity, the whole campus itself, is on an entire lateritic terrain. And just after half an hour of receiving heavy rains also, you don't find water. No, this is an important aspect that we need to ponder around. So we also need to look at soil degradation, biodiversity loss, waste management. I think these are all the aspects that we should look at it. So we have to look at the Kerala's own experience. It is, whether it is in community health, whether it is in literacy, whether it is in decentralized planning or people science movements, they offer a very rich case material to all of us to look at and then use that in the, in developing plans. In this regard, Central University of Kerala, is well placed to serve as a regional hub for sustainability-focused teaching and research. And that is where your future stands. And friends, the valedictory address is not just to celebrate what has been transpired in the discussions in the last 3 days. I would like to also share with you, based on the presentations, discussions I had with Honorable Vice Chancellor, I would like to, put forth few ideas and thoughts that we should, focus in the days to come. One is, we should focus on curricular integration, where we bring in IKS, we also bring in Swadeshi perspective. This is one of the most important aspects. The second important, concern or the recommendation, what we should say, is establishment of Swadeshi Innovation Hub. This is very important. We talk about it, but we don't do it in a very focused way. The third important aspect is community-anchored research mandates. This is very important. While we discuss much about basic research and applied research, in most of the cases, we do not engage community into our research agenda. We were talking about participatory research in agriculture, but still we are talking about it. So how do we bring it is one of the important aspects. I will not go into the details of it due to paucity of time. And the fourth one is we should also look at strengthening the teacher's capacity for transformative pedagogy. This is very important, especially for the universities, because we take degrees, diplomas, PhDs and all, but we have not been trained exclusively in teaching methods. And this is one of the important aspects. I would request the Honorable Vice Chancellor to focus on this. There should be an exclusive cell to build the capacities of the faculty on a continuous basis. So this is one of the important aspects. And cross-sectoral partnerships. This is the era of collaboration. We cannot do everything on our own, and we need to have a systematic collaboration with universities, with institutions. Your Vice Chancellor has a vision to do that. Definitely it will happen, but this is one suggestion that should go. And the last one is, we talk about, we talk too much about IKS. Look at any conference that is being organized across the country, we talk only about IKS. My strong suggestion to this administration here is, we should have a national digital repository of validated IKS across the country. That should be accessible to each and everyone across the country. So this should happen so that whatever the effort that we are trying to make will become useful to the entire community. And finally, I would like to look at the emerging role of Central University of Kerala. This is an young university, and it has been, if you look at the ongoing efforts to promote interdisciplinary programs, in his report he was mentioning, we had several programs, but we did not bring all the disciplines together. And this is one example. This is already happening. So whether it is outreach, whether it is research programs, we should align our institutions first, our departments first, our schools first, and then we should align it with the national agenda, the international agenda. So we should always keep in mind the national research priorities are aligned with the local priorities, and they should fall in place with the global research priorities. So this is where we should bring the knowledge and the experiences of Swadeshi, knowledge with this. And I also would like to say, for the students of this university, in the last 3 days, this has offered a living demonstration of what an engaged university looks like. For example, one in which the knowledge circulates freely. I was seeing students asking several questions. I was so happy. And, the hope is that many of the students, they will carry forward these impressions into their research, into their careers, whether they become teachers, whether they become researchers, or whether they become public servants or entrepreneurs. So this is very, very important. And we talk about Viksit Bharat. When we speak about Viksit Bharat 2047, this is not merely invoking a numerical milestone, because we are trying to articulate a civilizational project for 21st century. We have to work in a mission mode to achieve this. Otherwise, it will be very, very difficult for us to achieve that by 2047. My personal reflections, standing here today after listening to very inciting talks of the scientists, aspirations of young scholars, young students, I'm really, filled with a lot of optimism. But there are challenges. The challenges are, undoubtedly, undeniably immense. But we talk about climate change, we talk about public health vulnerabilities, we talk about, learning losses, digital divides, we talk about resource constraints. Yes, all these difficulties all constraints are there. The intellectual energy and our, moral commitment, we need to see, take it forward. And that is exhibited in this Congress. Each participant now have a responsibility. This is not just a 3-day celebration and closing. We have a responsibility as teachers, my dear faculty members here. You need to redesign the courses, the curriculum. You need to adopt innovative pedagogy and mentor students, as future nation builders. That is the responsibility of the teachers. And researchers, they need to select problems that basically matter to society. We need to collaborate across disciplines and, communicate findings in a very accessible forms. And as students, we also need to cultivate curiosity. This is very important. We need to look at resilience, and we also need to look at the ethical, discernment and a sense of service. So this is what has to happen. And I'm sure let the conversations that have begun in the last 3 days, they will continue into your laboratories, into your classrooms, into your villages, into your communities, so that, the phrase of transformative science and technology education, it should translate into real changes, how we teach, how we learn, how we apply knowledge, and year after year, until 2047 and beyond. And with this few words, I would like to, what I would like to say here is, we should rise in our minds, if not physically many times, we should rise in our minds to recommit ourselves. We should recommit ourselves to science that is truthful, science that is truthful, science that is compassionate, science that is self-reliant, science that is transformative. And if you look at education, education that should liberate from us from all the bindings. And Bharat, we are aiming, we are dreaming that it should become Viksit Bharat. It should become Viksit Bharat in every sense by 2047. And I take this opportunity to congratulate Professor Algur and his entire team for organizing such a wonderful conference, inviting people across the country and providing an opportunity to break the ice, come out of the watertight compartments, discuss together, collaborate and cooperate and take this vision further. I congratulate all of you, and I'm sure this 3 days conference will bring a drastic change in your mindset, in your approach, and in your attitude. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir, for the valedictory address that enriched this gathering. I request Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Sidhu P. Algu, sir, to felicitate our chief guest, Professor Ashok S. Alu, sir. I request Professor Ashok, sir, to receive the honor on behalf of Central University of Kerala. Thank you, sir. To crown this session with reflection and inspiration, I now welcome our guest of honor, Dr. K.B. Hebbar, the Director of ICAR, Central Plantation Crops Research Institute, to address the gathering.
Good afternoon, everyone. Most respected and honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Sidhu P. Algur. Professor Ashok Alur, I think, who had given a comprehensive description of the whole of this seminar, along with Dr. Rajendra, distinguished luminaries on the dais and off the dais. In fact, I am greatly honored to sit with so many distinguished professors on the dais, for which I am highly grateful to the Vice Chancellor and organizers for having invited me. I am also happy to know here that when Dr. Rajendran was presenting, he was telling that in the agriculture session, there were a lot of crowd. That is, I think, very nice to hear, because you know that India is a country, still 45% of the population is depending on agriculture. It contributes roughly 18% to the GDP. Still, it is very high contribution. And also, I must congratulate Central University for having organized this program very successfully, because I was told that there were 43 distinguished resource persons. I think it's a great exposure to General Z, I think, who are going to contribute for the development of this country for 2047. You know that 300 years back, India was a very prosperous and very rich country. Then there was only Swadeshi science was there. Once this colonial era started, and during our independence, our GDP, or the total global trade, which was around 20%, has come down to 0.5%. Today, roughly it is 2 to 3%, and by 2047, it is expected that it would go to roughly 10 to 12%. If that is to happen, science, technology, and innovation, these are the most important things. I think whole country now looking for innovations. Whatever that innovation we do, I think whatever be the field, I think in every sphere, India is progressing. But one thing is very, very important, that innovation should have human face, and always we should look for the improvement of the society. I remember one concept given by Honorable Director, former Director General of CSIR, Dr. Mashelkar. He says that whatever that innovation is, it should be for more, from less, and for more. What does it mean is, whatever the technology or innovation you do, it is highly valued from less resources and useful for more people. When it comes to agriculture, whatever the technology we develop, I think it is always, we follow this concept. I'm sure that this, I think one has to keep in mind. If I simply quote one example without taking much your time, you know that there are a lot of disabled persons are there. So in America, they come out with an artificial limb. It was costing something like $2,500. It was very good, but very costly. Not many people could afford. From India also, we developed one limb, which was costing just $25, but it is not very competitive. It is not very efficient. So that is not a good innovation. Another two brothers from Jaipur, they developed, it was costing just $35. And by wearing that one, a person can cover 1 kilometer in 4 minutes. I think most of us, I think we may find it difficult to, even with the normal legs, to walk 1 kilometer in 4 minutes. But this is such a wonderful technology, and which was just costing few dollars. I think our technology or our innovation, something it should be like that. Another important thing, I think a lot of youngsters are there. I think you should keep it in mind. One thing is, because we come out with a lot of findings and everything, and immediately we publish it. Now this is the era of artificial intelligence. ICTs, IoTs, I think all kind of hi-fi things we talk about. I think if you do not make use of this innovation, somebody else will make use of it. That is why I think one should be very careful. That is why I think always, I think other day I was listening to Professor Sidhu Alagur. I think he has very clearly mentioned that we should always have the interdisciplinary research. I may be a biologist, you may be an engineer or physicist or medical practitioner, but we all must work together to develop different kind of gadgets by using all this data. So in today's context, data is very, very important. I think all of us should sit together across the disciplines and come out with the kind of innovations which is very, very useful, and by using that one, whatever that problem now the society is facing, if we can solve that one, there is nothing like that. I think I'm very sure that with all your kind of enthusiasm with which you are now sitting here and listening, and for the last 3 days, you have seen the kind of transformative education discussions and everything. I think really it is possible to transform India into one of the most developed countries by 2047. So once again, I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I wish each and everyone all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. We welcome our Professor Rajendra Pilankata, General Secretary of 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress, to honor our guest of honor, Dr. K.B. Hebbar. I request Dr. K.B. Hebbar, sir, to receive the honor on behalf of Central University of Kerala and Swadeshi Science Movement Kerala. Thank you, sir. May I now invite Professor Sidhu P. Algur, our Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala, for the presidential address.
A very good afternoon to one and all. The chief guest of the today's valedictory function, Professor Ashok Kalu, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kodagu University and good friend of mine. The guest of honor, Dr. K.B. Hebbar, Director, CPCRI, Kasargod. Professor S.M. Sivaprasad, Professor and Dean, IIT Dharwad. Professor G.M. Nair, sir, President, Kerala Academy of Science. Professor N.H. Ayachit, Professor and Dean, Academics, Kelly Technological University, Hubli. Professor Joseph Koipalli, Dean Academic, CU Kerala. Professor Rajendra Pilankata, the General Secretary of the Swadeshi Science Congress. Professor Jay Prakash, the Registrar in Charge, CU Kerala. Dr. Jasmine Shah, Secretary, 32nd Science Congress. More importantly, all the learned, invited speakers, deans of the various schools, heads of the department, my dear faculty, participants across the country, and all my dear friends. Well, I feel very pride and joyful to stand before you to conclude the 3 days 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress, jointly organized by Central University of Kerala and Swadeshi Science Movement Kerala. I know that it is 2:15 now. It's a time for lunch, as well as it is a time for the various participants to receive your awards. Not taking much of your time, I'd like to conclude my presidential remarks at the earliest. Okay. Well, first, let me endorse the views expressed by the chief guest as well as the guest of honor on this valedictory function. I place it on record whatever the views expressed by Ashok, Algur and Hebbar were noted and well taken as well. More importantly, I would like to highlight one of the important suggestion what Ashok Algur gave. He gave several important occasions. One what it appealed to me was Swadeshi Science Innovation Hub. Well, on this platform, I'd like to declare to all my research students, all postgraduate students, whoever wish to innovate anything related to Swadeshi science, the SAVIC Kerala is open in terms of physical resources as well as financial resources. Only your wish and the proposal, what it mattered to us, anybody who submits the proposal to innovate Swadeshi science, we welcome, and you can submit the proposal through the Dean Academic to our office so that we can facilitate you, and this culture should spread across Kerala, across nation as well. Well, as you all aware that since last 3 days, we have been highly inspired by the learned academic speakers. Not only that, those 3 days were very energetic in terms of exchanging the ideas and celebrating the Swadeshi science is to build the Viksit Bharat. I strongly believe that the deliberations, whatever have happened in the last 3 days, will definitely contribute for the nation building towards the Viksit Bharat. And you also know that the theme of these 3 days national seminar, that is transformative science and technical education for Viksit Bharat, I believe that it has come alive through the various sessions. Across the various themes, on various topics, the academicians have given their plenary lectures and the students have presented the various paper presentation as well. But for me, in the last 3 days, the proud moment for me is 3 important things. One is, during this 32nd Swadeshi Science, we gave the Puraskars to the eminent scientists. I strongly believe that it is a responsibility of the academia as well as the society to honor those who have contributed towards the science development and growth, and especially to the science, Swadeshi science. So that is being done in the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress. Not only that, along with that, we also gave nearly 18 young researchers the project distribution awards, which they will take up and contribute towards the development of the science and technology. And more important is, for the first time in the Swadeshi Science Congress, if I'm right, the interaction with the students and the teachers has happened for the first time, which was not there. This idea was not ours, believe it me. This idea was being floated and insisted by some of the speakers, none other than Professor Sivaprasad as well as NH IHL. I'd like to give the credit to those 2 people who were instrumental in insisting, call the next generation who would like to take the science as an education, and we need to interact and convey them the importance of the Swadeshi science. That with that idea, so for the first time in the 32nd Science Congress, which we called more than 200 school students and their teachers, where more than nearly 1.5 hours interaction went, and it was very fruitful interactions. I believe that that was also more important for me. Friends, the Congress has highlighted the key messages such as research must reach to the people, and it should touch to the lives of the people and empower the communities and strengthen the nation's self-reliance. So therefore, science is not just, we don't have to do the science research only for the sake of the publications or journal publications, but for the justice, humanity, and the growth. In the sense, whatever the science research you wanted to do it, focus on the justice, humanity, as well as the growth of it. And more important, hosting this event is a historical milestone in the history of CU Kerala. As the General Secretary of the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress, Professor Rajendra Pilangatta, did mention that this is, for the first time, so many departments came together, participated, deliberated, discussed, argued, but at the end, they came together to host this. All more than 8 departments, students, faculty have contributed for the for organizing this. It was a great academic achievements. I believe that getting nearly, I think if I'm precisely right, around 48 or 49 eminent science academicians in the last 3 days. So I consider this could be one of the greatest milestones in the history of CU Kerala, because all of them coming on these 3 days, being on the campus, interacting with the faculty, interacting with the students, that itself is a great achievement. So therefore, my greetings and compliments to all those resource persons who took their time to be a part of, who took time to be with us and enlighten our faculty as well as the students. Okay, as we are coming to the concluding or closing of the 32nd Science Congress, I believe that the true success of this event lies not only in its sessions, whatever we have conducted in the last 3 days, but it is what next. Not only what next, how to take it forward, those ideas, whatever the ideas which evolved in the last 3 days. So therefore, we need to be very, very, very well thought in doing the partnerships as well as the insight. So therefore, as the chief guest did mention that we need to let us continue to collaborate, innovate, and contribute for the national development. Well, coming to the more important thing, the success of any event depends upon the teamwork. Though the chief guest did mention that it is Al Gore and his team. So, sorry, I say that it is, it is not Al Gore and team. It is a collective efforts of all the organizing team. So I was only an instrumental. So therefore, I'd like to place it on the records of the CUK that the Swadeshi Science Movement Kerala, who came to us, can you host this? We agreed it. And Vijnana Bharati also joined hands with us. And all the resource persons who have participated, enlightened, and all the organizing committee members led by Professor Rajendra Pilangatta, Jasmine Madam, and all other team members, I attribute the whole success to Rajendra Pilangatta and his team for conducting the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress. So I request all the faculty members of CUK and the students a big round of applause to Professor Rajendra Pilangatta and his team, who made this Congress is possible as well as success. So therefore, I would like to declare that the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress concludes. Before that, concludes with the final statement, may the spirit of science continue to enlighten, empower, and elevate our nations. Thank you all. Namaskar and Vande Bharat. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for setting the vision for this Congress with your insightful words. We welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Sidhu P. Algo, sir, to felicitate Dr. Jasmine M. Shah, the Secretary of 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress, with a bouquet. I request Madam to proceed to the dais. Thank you, ma'am. May I request Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, to felicitate Professor Swapna S. Nair, Technical Committee Chairman of 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress. I request Madam to proceed to the dais.
Thank you, sir. It is time to recognize the brilliance, dedication, and contributions of individuals whose work has illuminated the path of science. Let us begin the award distribution.
We shall now proceed with the Young Scientist Award. I request the awardees to come forward to receive their awards. The first recipient today under the theme Earth Sciences, sub-theme Geology, is Mr. Akhil Ghosh K. from the Department of Environmental Sciences, Central University of Kerala. May I request Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Sidhu P. Algo, sir, to present the award. I request Professor Ashok S. Alu, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kodagu University, to present the award. Under the theme Earth Sciences, sub-theme Climate Change, Meteorology, Ocean Sciences, the recipient is Mrs. Linita Nair from the College of Agriculture, Velayani. May I request ma'am to proceed to the dais? Under the sub-theme Environmental Sciences, the recipient is Mr. U.B. Vishnu, National Center for Earth Sciences Studies. Under the theme Indian Knowledge System and the sub-theme Yoga and Social Studies, the recipient is Ms. Deepthi Padmanabha Bhatt. For the Young Scientist Award, I call upon Ms. Deepthi Padmanabha Bhatt. May I request Dr. K.B. Hebasa, Director, ICAR Central Plantation Crops Research, Podilli, to give away the award. The next recipient of the Young Scientist Award under the theme Indian Knowledge System and the sub-theme Indigenous Traditional Knowledge, Mrs. Vidya P. I request Professor Ashok S. Alu, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kodagu University, to present the award. Mrs. Vidya P., Scientist, Kerala Veterinary and Animal Sciences University. The next awardee under the theme Health Sciences and the sub-theme Allopathy Paramedical Pharmacology is Dr. Vaishnavi Jagdish M. from Kerala Veterinary Animal Science University, Pukod. Next recipient of the Young Scientist Award, Dr. Prakash Babu Kodali, Assistant Professor, Central University of Kerala. May I request Professor Appa Rao Podilli, former Vice Chancellor, University of Hyderabad, to present the award. Dr. Prakash Babu. Next awardee under the theme Physical Sciences and Engineering, sub-theme Physics, Astronomy and Astrophysics, Mohammad Jawad P. from Central University of Kerala. Next awardee under the theme Physical Sciences and Engineering and the sub-theme Chemical, Material Science and Nanotechnology, Malavika R.K. from Central University of Kerala. May I request Professor S.M. Shiv Prasad, Professor and Dean IIT Dharwad, to present the award. Malavika R.K. from Central University of Kerala. Next awardee, Suresh N. Nair from the Department of Food, Science and Technology, Panangad, Kerala, under the theme Fisheries Science. Next awardee is Gokul P. from the Department of Veterinary Surgery and Radiology, CVAS, Manuti. Gokul P. Next awardee, Shalini K. from Central University of Kerala, under the theme Physical Sciences and Engineering, sub-theme Mathematics and Statistics. May I request Professor G.M. Nair, President, Kerala Academy of Sciences, to present the award. Shalini K. from Central University of Kerala. Next recipient is Shibina V. under the category theme Physical Sciences and Engineering and the sub-theme Computer Science. Department of Computer Science, Central University of Kerala, Shibina V. May I request Professor N.H. Ayachit, Professor and Dean Academics, Kerala Technological University, to present the award. Shibina V. Next recipient today, Subhash N.N. from Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences. The last awardee today for the Young Scientist Award, Ajay Krishna, Division of Artificial Internal Organs, PMT, SCTIMST, from the theme Modern Biology. Ajay Krishna. May I request K. Muralidharan sir, former President, Swadeshi Science Movement, Kerala, to give away the award. Let us congratulate with a warm round of applause. Congratulations to all the awardees. Thank you.
The awards we witnessed today are not just honors, but reminders of the dedication and brilliance that drive science forward. Every successful event is built on the support and contributions of many. To acknowledge them, warmly invite K. Muralidharan sir, former President of Swadeshi Science Movement, Kerala, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Namaste. It is a very pleasant duty to propose vote of thanks. I will finish within a few minutes. Respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. So as our speakers mentioned, we very successfully concluded the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress at the prestigious institution of Kerala, the Central University of Kerala. And all these things happened with the active support and guidance of Professor Sidhu P. Algur, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of this university. When we approached him, he readily agreed and convened a meeting of all the head of the divisions, deans and faculties. He delegated the duties or the responsibilities very nicely, and all of them as a teamwork. They conducted it in a very nice manner without any issues back to us or anybody. So, sir, we wholeheartedly support you and look forward to your support in our future endeavors also. Thank you, sir. And in this valedictory function, we have the chief guest who gave the valedictory address. He precisely mentioned about the spirit of Swadeshi science, as well as he also made a very good summary of the events and or the deliberations, as well as he communicated some future thoughts also. Sir, we are extremely thankful to you, Professor Ashok S. Alur, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kodagu University. Thank you. And our guest of honor, Dr. K.B. Hebbar, Director, ICR Central University, Central Plantation Crops Research Institute, my own institute. Sir, always you support our activities. Thank you for coming and appreciating. It is my pleasant duty to express our sincere thanks to Professor S.M. Shivaprasad, Professor and Dean IIT Dharwad, Professor G.M. Nair, President Kerala Academy of Sciences, Professor N.H. Ayachit, Professor and Dean Academics, KLE Technology University, for gracing this occasion and giving us valuable guidance and support. I also thank Professor Apparao, who also was here with us for different activities. Again, most of the committee members and most of the, maybe more than half the faculty are friends of mine and the Swadeshi Science Movement, Kerala. They are also the members. And I think from 2010-12 onwards, the Swadeshi Science Movement is having many activities in association with the Central University of Kerala. So, as you know, that a friend is who will support you without a request. So the same thing we received, and to start with, I express the gratitude and our appreciation to all of them. I will only mention the names. Professor Joseph Koipalli, Joseph sir is very associated with us, Dean Academics. Then, as our Vice Chancellor mentioned, the three people who were instrumental to all these things, Dr. Rajendran Pilangata, Secretary General of the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress, then Dr. Swapna Nair, Chairman Technical Committee, who published this abstracts, then Dr. Jasmine Shah, who took a lot of efforts to bring as many as more than 50 academicians and communication with all the delegates. So I also thank all the invited speakers who took extra efforts to reach Kasaragod from many distant places for this 32nd edition of Swadeshi Science Movement. As I mentioned, there were many committees. To start with, the Food Committee under the leadership of Professor Binoy and Professor Joseph, Publicity Committee under the leadership of Professor Ashwini Nair and PRO Mr. Sujit. Also, I extend our appreciation to the media who cooperated with us for publishing this, our activities. Then Reception Committee, coordinated by Professor Matthew George and Dr. Anjali Devi. Program Committee under the leadership of Professor Demison Thomas. Then Professor Muthu Kumar and Dr. Ambalagi for accommodation. Professor Nagalingam and Gauri Shankar for transportation. And there are many other names I may have to mention, but because of the hungry and time constraint, I am not attempting that. But at the same, please take it that we are all very grateful to all of you. And all the faculties and students very wholeheartedly supported the activities and various events. I thank them. And before conclude, I have to mention some of many of them are our SSMK members, but the executive committee members who very worked hard. To start with Dr. R. Jayaprakash, he is a registrar also, he is having a double role. Then Dr. Sudhish, then from our Vijnana Bharati side, Vivekananda Pai, the Secretary General, Praveen Ramdas, National Secretary, Apka Ravindranath, Regional Secretary, Professor Shukumar Venugopal, our President, Engineer Rajiv C. Nair, Secretary, Mr. Biju Kaimal, Treasurer, then our executive members, Dr. Radish, Mr. Radish and Dr. Prasad Nair and Dr. Dinesh from Veterinary College. So, and many are, all of them are very actively involved in this. I express my thanks to all of them, and I wish you a very happy Pongal and Makara Sankranti and a safe journey back to your home. With this, hope that you will be associated with us in the coming years, and as our VC mentioned, be a part of giving innovation, bringing innovations to the based on Swadeshi science or our traditional knowledge. With this, I conclude. Vande Bharat and Vande Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the vote of thanks that honored all contributors. With the completion of all proceedings, the valedictory session of the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress 2026 now concludes. As we bring this session memorable to dignified close, may I request everyone to rise for the national anthem. Following the anthem, there will be a group photo session to capture this historic gathering.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
I request all to assemble in front of the library for a group photo. On behalf of the organizing committee of Swadeshi Science Movement Kerala and Central University of Kerala, I once again express our deepest gratitude to all dignitaries, participants and organizers for making the 32nd Swadeshi Science Congress a grand success. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
One announcement is there. For participants, students who have won the best oral and best poster, we could not announce here because of lack of time. It was announced in your respective sessions. So you can collect your certificates from the counter in the library venue. Okay. In case you need information on that, please contact your respective session coordinators. Okay. So participants who won best oral and best poster, please collect your certificates from the library hall, the reception counter. Thank you.